All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for attending. This is getting started with Copilot for Microsoft 365. It's been a very popular request. A lot of clients are just asking, how do I start with Copilot? So I created a few slides, and I think the most important thing is to get started, right? So my recommendation to start with Copilot is either one license or one license, depending on the size of your organization, or one license per department. So one of our um, great clients decided to get one per department. So every department uses Copilot a little differently. And then, the commitment is 1 year, or they have a monthly license for a little bit more. So I think the important thing is just to try Copilot for your respective tasks and responsibilities and see, how much it actually helps you or saves you time. And the other thing is to set expectation is that it's not, what I say is it's going to save you, the ROI is over a period of a month, right? Saving a few hours a week adds up to many hours per month, and that's how you should look at it. It's not going to, change your life immediately and, save you many, many hours per day in the beginning. And also, there's advantages to Copilot, which I'll go over, and there's other AI tools, and I think the best thing is kind of use them together in conjunction, right? So, um, Copilot is built on Microsoft's um, platform. It has security, has compliance, has privacy, and it has something called responsible AI. I'm really going to focus on the privacy. So this is the major difference between Microsoft Copilot and like a ChatGPT, right? So Copilot looks through all your work data, right? So all your data that you have on the Microsoft platform, like in your Outlook, in your OneDrive, in your SharePoint, in your PowerPoint, right? It can take what your information is and help you solve problems or do some tasks for you. And this is the biggest difference between ChatGPT. So ChatGPT takes your information and it tries to learn from it. So larger institutions like uh, DirecTV, I have a relative that works there. They're not allowed to, and my brother actually works there. He's not allowed, he's a chief software architect. He's not allowed to use it to help him program because what they found out is someone took one of their proprietary algorithms, put it in ChatGPT, and just say, please optimize this code. And all of a sudden, when someone starts talking about algorithms for viewers, part of their algorithm actually starts popping up. So you want to be very careful when it's a public AI tool like a ChatGPT that you don't want to put your proprietary data in there, right? There are versions of ChatGPT that you can buy that it's private for you. They're very expensive. It's not like $20, 50 or $100 a month. You can get your own private ones. So Copilot is in each of the applications in the Microsoft family. Um, Copilot in Teams meetings is the one that I started with. And and I'll give you a use scenario that I use. Um, actually, let me stop there. I'm not going to go through the automated. So how I use Teams, the Copilot in Teams is, unfortunately, a lot of my week is multiple Teams meetings. I'm always invited to meetings, and there are several important ones, and sometimes I can't make it due to other commitments or client meetings. Is I actually type summarize project huddles for the week, summarize remote support huddles, summarize sales and marketing meetings, and it gives me a summary. So before Copilot, I would actually try to listen to some of the recordings, and that's not a time saver. It actually just causes me to spend hours and hours on during my weekends. So I'll summarize the meetings, and it's amazing that I'll read the summary, and it's happened probably once last month that what they discussed and the directives were exactly the opposite of what I wanted. And maybe it was my fault when I told someone that this is what I wanted, and somehow they misinterpreted it. It was exactly the opposite, right? So the summary from Copilot was amazing. I was quickly able to catch that. And then I was able to have another huddle next day and said, sorry, there's a misinterpretation of my, what I wanted, and this is what I want. So you could start with just summary. Also, Teams is great. Our whole company runs on Teams, but unfortunately, it's a beast in itself that, I'm spending more and more time where I was before Copilot searching for conversations, people. So now you can actually say, I want every conversation that involves, client ABC. And then even if you had it with your service manager, you've had it with your project manager, it's going to pull all that information over. Right. So it is a time saving. I think I'm saving probably 2-3 hours a week. So in terms of return on investment, I think Copilot and Teams meeting, at least for our organization, the way we work, was the quickest way to get into Copilot, get our feet wet, and see some time savings. So I'll skip through this. Yeah, so this is just a summary. You can summarize what you missed in the meeting. You can create a table of pros and cons for the topic. You can say also what decisions were made and what are some suggested next steps. So all it is collating all the data from your meetings and summarizing it in bullet points. That's what I'd like to do. And I mentioned this already, but I found out in summaries that my instructions were presented wrong. And that's important, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't know. If I missed the meeting, I would never know that. This is just a summary of a meeting. This is an actual meeting that we had. Peter and Primo discussed the configuration changes in the firewall, the importance of verifying the source of these changes. This is great because most of the people in our organization have Copilot, and if they don't, we're taking these summaries and sending it to all the participants that missed the meeting. Right, intelligent recap. Right, especially a video. I'll break it down if you want. You can actually break it down like when did Victor present in this video, and I'll actually tell you, at the 4-minute mark, or the 8-minute mark, or when did Pete talk. So it's great that way. Copilot and Outlook. So I use it mainly to summarize email threads or topics, right? So a popular one is Microsoft sends me probably 5 to 10 emails per week. Everyone is high importance. Everyone's a priority. So what I do is, every Monday morning, summarize all the Microsoft emails with bullet points from the week previously, and it'll tell me, because Microsoft, in its infinite wisdom, will send something like, we're raising the prices of all your clients within like 60 days. And that'll be like your one notice, right? So it's important not to miss these. And I could take those summaries that I get and then send it to the proper team member in my organization. I also use it to write some of my Outlook replies. So I have a tendency to type really quick. Yeah, and depending on the client, you could say I'd like a more casual, writing or a more professional writing. So you can actually tailor it that way. Now, Copilot in Word, I use it quite a bit. I'm going to try to do it live here. So let me see if I can. I'm going to stop. I don't like the can. Let me try to. Oh, that didn't work. So what I was trying to do is we're interviewing for another engineer. I have probably 30 resumes from 4 recruiters. So what I did is instead of going through, and each resume seems to be like 4 to 5 pages. So I summarized the experience, the years of experience for each candidate. Certification, so I'm looking for Microsoft Azure. I'm looking for Server 2019 or higher. So it went through all those resumes and gave me a nice document. And then I was able, instead of going through all these, it picked out, well, it didn't pick out, but it showed 2 candidates that met the criteria that I had. So instead of going through all these resumes, I pulled out 2. And then I was able to tell the recruiter I like to meet with these 2 people next week. So that's how I use Word. Usually the pull summary saved me a lot of time, especially when it's recruiting. I do use it to rewrite some paragraphs, although that's really not my day-to-day responsibilities. But the summary has been great. The writing has been good, and the ability to pull out certain points, right? So when it's excuse me, when it's a resume, it's always depending on the position, technical, you want certification, years of experience. If it's someone else administrative, I like to know what is the average tenure of each of these resumes. I look for longevity. So if resumes are saying they had 10 positions over 10 years, I'm really not going to spend any time looking at that resume. So again, this is just a recap. So you can create a summary of every document. You can rewrite a paragraph, save time, formatting. You can do some custom graphics as well. And just to be upfront, I think ChatGPT for rewriting Word is actually been more effective for me. You just want to be sure, are careful not to put any proprietary information. But again, Copilot is a great tool. I use it daily, but there's other tools that I've used that AI. ChatGPT is great. There's something called Gamma.app, which when I get the PowerPoint, I highly recommend that application. It rewrites and creates PowerPoints, and it's amazing. So Excel, I don't do a lot of Excel work, but here's an example. I used it this morning. So we do Sonic Wall renewals. We have something like 140 Sonic Walls, and we do an export from Sonic Wall Corporation. They just listed by MAC address. Well, that's useless to me. I just told to sort all the columns I have by the renewal date. And it instantly did that. And then what I also did is highlight the rows that mention TZ 500, just because the TZ 500 is end life. So I'm going to highlight those. So my team can call clients and say, your Sonic Wall TZ 500 is end of life, so we're not going to renew it this year. And we're going to have to move you to the Generation 7 or Generation 8 firewall. So that's a big saving. The spreadsheet is maybe 200 rows. To instantly highlight in yellow TZ 500s, 400s, 300s, anything in the Gen 6 is a big time saving. Also correlate that with the renewal date, right? because we're not going to ask clients to replace now. We're going to have to ask them to replace about 30 days, 45 days before the renewal date. Does anyone have any questions right now before I go on?
None in the chat yet, but I was just going to send a little reminder that I'm here if anyone has any questions.
Sure, that's fine. And PowerPoint. So I don't use PowerPoint that often. And so I've had it to change presentations. It's been okay, but I mentioned, like here, some examples, create a 5-slide presentation based on a Word document. So my workflow is I like to outline things in a Word document first. And that's how how I think. So you can take the Word document and start creating slides. And we have some standard link high slides. So I could say use the standard link high slide, which just has our logo in the upper left-hand corner, our contact info in the footer. That's great. But I think I mentioned another product at the beginning of the presentation. It's called Gamma.app. And one of our clients showed it to me. And it's amazing. There's a free trial. If you do a lot of PowerPoint, I would suggest that you try it. I actually took a very boring PowerPoint that I did myself and put it through Gamma, and it just made it amazing. It was just the way it formatted into bullet points. It did a nice professional background. I had to say, professional technical background. That's something truly made a difference because I would never be able to create a presentation like that. And then here we'll go over the Microsoft 365 Copilot security and privacy. You can try, we'll play this one. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I think the emphasis here, and this is difference between other products, is it's your data that it's working with. So it's actually more powerful, right? ChatGPT can pull from the whole internet and what it's learned, but Copilot's pulling from your data. And then the other thing that I get this question over and over again from our clients before they implement Copilot is you can section off parts of your Office 365 tenant. So in our SharePoint, we have an HR, right? There's a general HR that anyone in the company that could see. Another HR has personal information like salaries, performance reviews. That is walled off. So other members of Linkai, when they do a Copilot search, those areas are off limits. It's not part of any search. So you're never going to have like, oops, someone's HR data was pulled into a presentation or shown to a user that wasn't supposed to access it. So I think that's the key is it takes a little configuration. So but we can help you. But it's really when you get Copilot, if you're a principal or an owner, I guess the security is not, segmenting the security within the organization is not top of mind. But if you're going to start giving out departments, I would try to segment like that department. HR should just have HR info plus general info. finance should have finance and general info and sort of segmenting your tenant that way. Right, and this is just really, rehashing or focusing on Microsoft. This is the biggest difference. Your data is your data. It's not used to train, OpenAI foundation models without permission. Your data is protected. This is, just an introduction. I actually have some slides for technical people I may send out upon request at how to segment your data, technically. And here's the difference. And a lot of people are like, oh, I have Copilot on my computer, so I don't need to buy it. There is a difference. So they're pushing Copilot hard. Microsoft is there's a free version on everything, but the biggest difference is the free version is just the Copilot icon on your desktop. It just runs a general Copilot. It doesn't have access to your Microsoft 365 apps, and that's the biggest difference. It has just commercial data protection. It doesn't have the ability to segment. It's really meant, on the free version, you can run searches on your desktop. It's a pretty good search for, client ABC from years between this and this. But it's not, you need the Copilot for Microsoft 365. Currently, the price is $30. And then here's my recommendation. We've had some clients just start buying it for everybody. I wouldn't recommend that. And the use case really varies. For me, it's a time saver. I use it mainly for summarizing and pulling out from Microsoft Teams. But Joanna uses it for PowerPoint. Our finance, accounting, they're using it to manipulate spreadsheets, right? Pivot tables and pull data out and get certain, benchmarks. So I think the best way is to minimum, everyone should try it. Get one subscription for yourself or one per department. And then if you're a large organization, I think that is probably what I would recommend. Get one per department or one for departments that you think is people are willing to spend the time and effort to try it out. I think that's the most important thing. There's my contact information. And feel free to, email me. We've implemented Copilot for probably 24 clients. And Copilot is changing quarterly. So Microsoft's making a big investment. What it could do last year versus what it could do this year is dramatic. And they have another big release coming out for the fall. So it's only going to get better. And I think Joanna is going to go for another slide.
Yes, so just so everyone knows in the chat, I left a helpful little checklist to see how ready you are to implement Copilot. So that is down there. And then we're gonna see who won the 90-day trial. Let me share my screen. Okay, you could see my screen, right? With the wheel?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Arnulfo Avalar, we are going to send you an email after this. Congratulations. And thank you everyone for attending.